everyone, and welcome to AC Spotlight. I'm Mike, and today I'm joined with Jacob from Dungeons and Dorms. Hi!
What's up?
Jacob, quick question. What is your preferred GM snack?
Ooh, that is such a great question. I know Brennan Lee Mulligan is the almond guy.
Yeah.
I think it's the Skittles. Those are super easy to pop in. You get to chew on them for a little bit. Quick and easy snack. I feel like that's what every game master needs when it comes to snacks. Is it's something easy to eat and you can hurry up and swallow it when someone asks what's behind the door.
There's a lot of mouth sounds and a lot of mouth activity you have to be aware of when you're dungeon mastering because you're talking so often. I've talked to people who say chips or like pretzels, and I'm like, that's wrong. You're wrong.
Oh, it's too crunchy, too loud.
Yeah.
Something soft.
A Skittles, you could tuck that away in a cheek if you're like, oh, hold on, let me finish the answer this question, and then you can go right back. That's solid. Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah.
I had another person who told me grapes was an option. I went, that's actually kind of quiet. That's a good answer.
There you go. Healthy too. Like you're getting your fruits, your vitamins, everything you need for the day.
No, give me that sugar. Well, Jacob, I know you are running your own world and your own actual play of Dungeons and Dorms. Do you mind telling us more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Me and my college buddies, we started playing like years ago. We did a Curse of Strahd game, and I just streamed it for ourselves. We just kept it unlisted, and that was something that was like really, really cool. And we're like, let's try more. So this last semester, back in the fall, we started a brand new campaign. It was whole homebrew. It's a Greek mythology inspired campaign, which is really, really fun. I've had to do a lot of research. Because it turns out Percy Jackson, I love the series, I love the books, but it doesn't have everything I need. But no, it's been like such a blast, and it's been crazy to see the support that we've had from the few who have stumbled upon us. So it's been really, really fun.
That's rad. You kind of touched upon, I kind of go through these series of questions, and you kind of touched upon two of them already. But I'll hit them up just in case there's more details to it. But how did you find your players?
To be honest, I met one of them during freshman orientation.
Oh, okay.
Kid you not, one of them is actually my twin brother, so I've known him for 20 odd years. Two of them are from high school, and then one of them I met the other two I've met in my class. So I have actually 7 players, but it's been like super, super fun to like have everyone come together. Everyone knew just me before we started, but now we've really found our flows and really connected.
7 players. I was going to ask my second question, but I got to jump to that. I don't think I've ever dared running for 7 players. Is that a lot to balance?
Yes, absolutely. And trying to keep things engaged is really important. Like we struggled for a little bit. And so we've had to try things and drop others. Like when we first started, we just played it like as straight as we can, like, oh yeah, we're performing for an audience, but we really have found our stride since then. Like I've even allowed my players to like message each other on like Discord and things, so that way we can have like the table talk that normally happens during live plays and in-person games that we don't get when we play online. So it's been really fun to balance that out.
That's clever. Yeah, I think I've never ran a game for 7 players, but I believe that's a really good answer of having to keep people engaged while another scene is going on. It almost feels like everyone has the capability of like entertaining themselves and pushing kind of conversation without having it to, the spotlight doesn't have to move too fast between 7 people. That's really smart. And I sort of back to the original thing I was going to ask is that it sounded like to me that you were already kind of making content. You had it unlisted. Was Dungeons and Dorms, was that always meant to be an actual play? Did it start that way, or did it start like a home game and then evolved from there?
It was our home game. We had a acting 1 class, and so everyone who was in that who wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, we just started playing. And then I was like, man, if we record this, then I don't have to take notes. It's online. I can just watch through the video of us playing throughout the week and then write notes. It's really, really been like one of my best things. So even if you're not planning on doing an actual play, I would suggest talking to your players about streaming or recording your games. That way you guys can go back to it, because that's been something I've really enjoyed, is going back to my previous games. But originally it was just planned to be us, and then it was like actually really fun. I started learning more techniques of recording and stylizing things. Making overlays has been a blast. And then one of my friends actually mentioned the name Dungeons and Dorms, and I was like, "That's perfect. It's got D&D in the name, and it really shows that we're just a bunch of scrappy college students trying to balance life and do everything we need."
It does give that vibe 100%. It's this interesting concept when you sort of do actual plays and tabletop. I mean, for like tabletop itself, you're sitting down and you're telling stories and you're crafting a world, and there definitely is like this creative aspect to it. And then you kind of have to add an extra layer for actual plays, because like you mentioned before, like having to learn the technology and the overlays and everything. I feel like those two come from two separate worlds. So it definitely feels like, obviously you've been running for 7 people, and that's like the DM storytelling tabletop experience. But for the other one, it kind of comes from a content creation experience. Were you always interested in content creation, or was that like an aftermath?
I feel like if you asked like 12-year-old me, the answer would be yes. Like watching YouTube at a younger age, watching all these crazy people do things and like be successful has been super inspirational. So I try not to get my hopes up. I would be happy with just like a regular 9 to 5 and having this as my hobby, but it would be literally a dream come true if I could do this full time, just creating stuff for people who love it.
Yeah, also, I think this is something, like, I used to do streaming and content creation. A lot of it was, if you are enjoying the thing you like, people will latch onto that. It's good that you are being very true to yourself. Like, hey, I'm doing this as a hobby and I enjoy it. No one wants to watch someone who's pushing and forcing themselves to play a game. And the fact that you are also so invested in it, because tabletop, I feel like you're always invested.
Oh, absolutely.
It's hard to avoid it. Did you graduate from like a player seat to become a GM, or were you always like destined to be the forever GM, or was there always a mix between?
I started playing Pathfinder with my older brother and my twin. That's how I got started, was Pathfinder, the first edition. It was right before D&D 5e actually came out. So I tried that out as a player. I thought it was really fun. The storytelling, I loved watching these fantasy movies like Lord of the Rings and such. And so playing them was super, super fun. But I think a year later or so, I wanted to run a game for my friends. And since then, I've primarily been the game master about 90% of the time.
It sounds like to me that you also, like, obviously you mentioned your older brother and your twin, and they're also involved, or at least have been a part of the tabletop experience. Is your family was your like old school, 80s and 70s like D&D nerds playing in the basement type of experience, or what was this introduced at a certain point in your life where like your parents were involved or anything?
My parents weren't. It started with my older brother. He was super into Magic the Gathering.
Oh, it started with him then.
Yeah, it started with him going to the game store and just like hanging out. And so he brought us along because, we're a bunch of 12-year-old boys, got to get out of the house sometime. And so that brought us to the game store, and we started playing Pathfinder. He got me into Magic the Gathering, basically all my nerd hobbies.
Could you walk me through like the prep work you do before like going through a session of Dungeon Dorms? Like what do you do to hype yourself up or prep yourself before you start to record?
Oh, I feel like the basic steps, just like reminding myself what happened last session. So usually as soon as we finish a game, I'll write down just a few things of like where we left off. I'll do that. I'll scan through all my characters. I have a small little bio for each of them, who their relationships are, their basic backstory, and then like what future ideas I have. I'd say I'm very much like scene oriented when it comes to my game master style. Is I think of like fun little things to throw my players into, and I like to see it happen. So like when I read a cool book where it's like, oh my gosh, this crazy thing happened, I'm like, I'm going to force that to happen to my players and see how they react. So we'll go through that, and then we'll start the session off with a small little scene, usually with one of my players internally. We'll do a character question to get everyone ready, and then we'll start into the actual game. Nice.
Yeah, I'm also with you too that it's hard to avoid that, like the media you ingest, it's hard to, especially the ones you like, that it does not influence your GMing style or these sessions forward. I remember going to like a zoo, and seeing like hyenas and going, oh wow, and people are talking, there's like a tour going on, they're like, hyenas got the hardest bite tension or whatever it's called. Oh well, I know what's going to be in my next session. Now I know it. Or you
Same.
watch you watch a movie, or like I was playing like Alan Wake, and I'm like, ooh, creatures that are affected by light that are dark. I got an idea for a monster. It's hard not to let that slip. Has
No,
anyone called you out where they're like, oh, I know what you've been watching?
Uh, not necessarily, but I've been playing the Hades games, and so
Oh.
it's been really fun to steal elements from that. Mostly, it's like the character personalities of like the Greek gods, or like one of my players is supposed to be a son of Hades, so we sent the Furies after him, and so it was really fun to like add those elements. And my players are like, okay, we know who this is, or like there's a dark entity. Okay, we know
Oh, yeah.
we know the game. This is the idea. So you have to take the elements like you were saying and then change it a little bit so it's your own.
Itself, the Dungeons and Dorms is definitely, as you mentioned, like Greek themed. Is that something that you had already a lot of passion for, or is that something that you like settled on? You're like, oh, this could be explored.
When we first started, I think I had 6 campaign ideas I wanted to do with my players, and so I had them vote, and one of them was this Torn Asunder game, our Greek mythology inspired. But that one was really inspired by me and my wife. We got hooked into the Epic, the musical. I don't know if you've heard it, but
yeah. Get in the water.
Really good. Yeah, get in the water. So we got started on that, and that really hooked me. So that's where that began. But ultimately, we have several ideas, and I'm hoping after we finish this game that we'll continue with some of the other ideas I've had. So like some of them were based off of an old cartoon called Code Lyoko. So I have a bunch of fun ones like that.
That's 3D CGI animated show, right?
It's the one where it's like kids go into like a video game. So like half of it's like the 3D animation, and then the other half is the 2D animation.
I remember the art style being where like the heads were a little larger.
Oh, foreheads were huge. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I admittedly, I know a good amount of pop culture references, but there is a lot that escapes me. So that's a great concept of it. See, that's the problem with us GMs, is when someone tells you something interesting, you're like, I have to listen to you, because the other half started to take what you just said and started to work it in. Could you repeat yourself in case I missed anything?
No, seriously, that's I love it so much. It's grabbing those ideas and twisting it enough to make it your own, because I don't like straight up copying. Like we're creatives. I think we both understand that we don't want, but like taking it and making your own. So it's really, really important.
I feel like the only time copying can be acceptable is that if it's done in parody. I think there was a moment where I had players, they were in a tournament, and it was a team-based tournament situation, a bracket whole system, and they were in the corner of sort of the locker rooms, and of course the other combatants are walking around waiting for their turn to fight, and they see 4 cloaked figures with large, broad shoulders, very circular kind of forms, and they're like, well, who are these? That's the people you're gonna be fighting next. And I'm like, well, can we learn more about them? I'm like, they're walking away from you. Something looks strange about them. And so it wasn't until they all donned off sort of their cloaks, and they're all turtles of different color. I'm like, yeah, they're Teenage Mutant Turtles. And it's hard to avoid of like, oh, you're just throwing the teenage. I'm like, technically, yes. But it doesn't really matter. So it's just more of a parody thing. When it comes to sessions, because this is very interesting, the fact that you said you have 7 players. What is for your actual play? What is your preferred session length?
For us, I try to keep it around 2 to 3 hours, simply because a lot of us have things first thing in the morning. We play Sunday nights, so try to keep it mindful for them. But also, I feel like the energy level, at least for my group, we start dropping after about 2.5 hours. So unless we're in a crazy role play or like mid combat, I'll usually stick around that time so we can end on a high note and we don't drag ourselves too far.
Yeah, then that's acceptable. Yeah, there's a certain point where even the GM is like, I'm tired. And the fact that you're also like presenting it to the internet, it's like, all right, I can't be the one dragging, because there has to be a layer of energy. And I've said this a few times, like and maybe if you agree on this front, where because it is being recorded and streamed and being showcased to the internet, regardless of the audience size, you have to like not put them on a face, but you have to eject energy. And that means you're a lot more like, I get crashes at the end of videos. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go take a nap now.
Oh no, I've had to make sure, like, like RBF, like when you're just resting your face and like
Yeah.
you look like you're super pissed
Just-
off or something like that. No, seriously. So I've had to be really mindful, especially because my players will take like screenshots and send it. So it's really
rude.
funny. No, they're the best. There's one time I had really bad internet, so I was stuck in a weird face, and it's now a meme on our thing. It's like one of the GIFs or whatever in Discord now. It's a permanent part of our accessories.
Nice. What is a rule at your table that is written in stone?
Ooh, are you talking like gameplay wise, or more of like just the culture of the game?
I'll throw both. What if they both coincide, then perfect. If they are two separate ones, I'll accept either.
Gameplay wise, something that we've tried out was borrowing or stealing Daggerheart's death mechanics, the death move for our game.
Nice. Yeah.
So I've had to edit that a little bit to fit 5e, but that's been one of our greatest moments so far in the campaign, is when someone's down and they're choosing to risk it all. It's been one of the craziest, like we've shouted for joy. And so that's definitely one of our rules that we've added to 5e. That's been super great for our, again, like epic mythology. Like this is very grand. I don't think most games would need a system like that, but it's been super fun. But for more of the culture points is no matter how long our session went or how the session went, like detail wise or the feelings, we make sure that we have a little cooldown after we stop recording. So each of us have time to talk about our feelings, see how each of us feel. And I think that's one of the most important things that we've implemented for our group is we're going to take a minute to cool down. We're going to get out of our character skins, and we're just going to talk to each other face to face as players. And we can talk about other things outside the table as well.
That's very respectful. I think not a lot. I mean, I've been very lucky that the people I've been talking to and people within the TTRPG industry, definitely, there's a good section of us who like believe in like safe rules and safety tools. And so that's having a cool down, a debrief, and sort of have aftercare after the whole, like something very stressful could definitely be useful. And I'm happy that you have it. That's definitely a golden rule. I make this little cheeky joke that my golden rule or my rule written in stone is no one can eat during session. I can't handle it. I've probably by the time this video's come out, people have heard this sort of joke 4 times, but no, it's true. That and safety tools are very important. So I think that's very valid. Is there a moment in your game that has stuck out to you, whether it's like a moment of triumph or maybe something that's sort of sad, like, or something that's has not left you during your game?
I think last session was probably one of the more impactful ones. My players, for a little rundown really quick of what their goals are, is
Sure.
to find these Titan keys and break them in order to prevent Atlas, the bearer of the heavens, to like be released. So they're trying to prevent that. And during one of their fights just recently, they destroyed one of these crystals, and it was revealed to the players that one of them had known the true meaning of the crystals, that they weren't there to stop Atlas from returning, or they weren't the key to keep him at bay, but they were the blocks that kept him bound. And so it was revealed that one of the players knew this the whole time, and so everyone's
How many sessions are we in?
I believe we just had our 18th session. We're super quick, but I revealed to that player during like the 3rd session the truth of it. So he's been holding it in for 15 sessions.
15 sessions? If you count weekly, that's 4 months, 5 months or something?
Yeah.
That's props to your player for one, not letting it slip. I know players who could not hold a secret to save their lives. Oh, wow. That's really fun. I love it when players are able to hold something, like hold their cards close to the chest. And the fact that you're facilitating that. You mentioned before, and I'm really curious now because it's sort of been buzzing in my mind here, is that you mentioned that one of the players was like was the son or the offspring of a god. Are your players playing as like demigods?
Yes. They're all playing as these demigods. Some of them aren't necessarily from the Olympians. One of them is from Psyche. The other one is from Gaia, so like Mother Earth. One of the players, I won't say now, but he's not just human, and I'm super excited to reveal that hopefully in the next session or two, who his real dad is. And all of them have some sort of divine heritage, and that's another reason why I've implemented that rule from Daggerheart.
Nice. We'll bleep it for now, or we'll push it back. We'll see. You will not be spoiled, players. I guarantee it, from GM to GM. That's awesome. So we learned that. Is there, when it comes to tabletop, I know that there's a lot of like aspects when it comes to tabletop role-playing games. Like, obviously, I know you're digitally, probably, if correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Do you allow physical dice being rolled for your table?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I can trust my players. I know each of them individually, and I think we've set up like the expectation that a good roll or a bad roll will just continue with the story. And that's because our focus is more on the storytelling. I know many groups within our community are more about the game perspective of it, and nothing against them, but like our focus is towards the story, the narrative, so the dice don't matter necessarily too much besides directing where our current is going.
I think the reason why I ask, because there's obviously a lot of accessories that come with tabletops. Do you remember the first dice set you ever got?
Oh, that is a great question. I do. They were a sort of opaque red sets. Yeah. So they're really cool. I don't think I have them anymore, but I've collected dice like none other since. And I think right now I'm like looking at my desk. I have probably 6 full sets, and then I have this jar full of assortment of dice I've collected throughout the years.
Are you the person, and I'm kind of in this boat, and wonder if you're there too, of the moment you're able to play as a character, you get a set that matches the theme or kind of feel?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah? Okay. It's one of my favorite things to do. Actually, one of my buddies, I joined his game for a little bit, and I'm playing a little goblin cleric boy. Super fun. He doesn't worship a god, he just studies the god, so he's like a big old nerd. But he bought me this set of green dice, and it was one of my favorites for a really, really long time.
Nice. When it comes to, obviously, because we're talking about like just the actual play itself too. There's so many layers to it, because you have to prep it, you have to set up the cameras, get the audio all set, OBS go running, start to stream everything. Is there something when it comes to the actual plays that's what's the hardest thing about running an actual play?
Ooh, I would say either like the technical elements, getting that set up, or this. For me, it's been not worrying about the engagement, not worrying about subscribers and views like that, and just letting it play out naturally. I am very fixated on like, I want the numbers to go big, I want to see success, but being able to just relax, be like, what I'm doing is good, and the fruit will be rewarded in its own time. Plant good seeds, and the fruit will prosper.
I think that's a very healthy way to look at it, especially, and I would even assume the moment you're mid-game, your attention is already split in what I understand. We're going to say 8 different ways because the story also counts. I'm sure that is something that's like, okay, that's an afterthought until it doesn't become an afterthought. When it comes to storytelling, because the fact that you're telling such a unique story, I've seen GMs, and it does differ from GM to GM, that stories are kind of told in different ways. There's like arcs where you have like a chunk of sessions that kind of relate into a conclusion. There are some that are a continuous straight line, just after sessions, just continuously aiming for that goal. And then there are the few that are like the mission to mission. It doesn't really connect too much, but they are kind of built in a way where it's very easy to follow. For Dungeon Dorms, is that your GMing like, which would you consider to be your GMing style?
Definitely arcs. I feel like that's the most powerful. You get to spend like 2, 3, 4 sessions really biting down into something before moving on. Especially with my table, everyone has like their own personal backstories, and I don't want to let that fall to the wayside for the greater goal of this, what I have in my idea, in my brain. So I always try to make sure that we have small little arcs about everyone's personal backstory. Like when we were talking about my player who's the son of Hades, there's a whole arc about him having to hunt down Sisyphus because he broke out of the underworld and some of the consequences of that happening. So Definitely arcs.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of overly sarcastic productions?
I've not. I'm gonna write that down though.
Well, yeah, we'll exchange information. That's a great place. I would say the only reason why I can keep up with your knowledge about sort of the Greek pantheon and all the stories around that is because of that channel. It's only I was like, oh, he's talking about Sisyphus. I know exactly what that means. I know it. So good on you. The fact that you didn't go to the cheat route that I did. I'm gonna give you a really quick question though. Water, tea, coffee, or energy drinks?
Probably it depends. It depends. I hate answering it that way, but it depends. But mostly I'll say water. I don't feel myself if I don't drink at least a few bottles of it per day. Like that sluggish feeling or something like that.
Yeah.
So, nice little, slightly cooler than room temperature. My wife prefers it like an iceberg. I'm not that satanic when it comes to my water. Just not room temperature is all I ask.
I got a problem. I got to have it chilled, but I get it. Well, thank you so much, Jacob. I appreciate it for joining me and for sharing your adventures with us and the rest of the internet to enjoy. Once again, I throw it to you. Where can people find Dungeons and Dorms and your own content?
Yeah, hit me up, Dungeons and Dorms. You can find me on YouTube and on TikTok. TikTok's primarily just me doing random stuff about D&D content, memes, whatnot, ideas. There's a whole Lantern series that I've done, so DC Comics, love them. But the YouTube channel is where we actually do our stream and our Greek mythology game, so hit us up.
You do Lantern. That's awesome. I'll say before we call this a session or call this a recording, Kyle Rayner or Jon Stewart?
Some people might get mad, but I have to go with John. Like, I know people could get mad over that. I hope I'm not offending you, Mike, but I have to go with
No,
John
both are great in my eyes. I think it would have been surprised if you said no, Guy Gardner.
They're both great. They're both great.
Yeah. No, they're both respectable. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.